Hilltop Podcast. I'm here in the command pod with Lucas.
Hello.
Lucas, you've got questions about... I don't know what you've got questions about. Tell me your questions,
Yes, I've
Lucas.
got questions about Parker's visions.
You mean, yes?
Because if you remember, we've just seen Hesti suspended in some kind of stasis, looking rather distressed, and rescued him. And I basically had a vision of this back in the cave where we had the argument about the diamond.
Yes, diamonds.
Yes, diamonds. And I didn't feel that Parker had any sort of option to act on that vision in some way or other. And so I'm wondering, like, the next time that Parker has a vision, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It didn't really make a difference to how, there was nothing I could seem to have done, given the vision, to actually...
Yes.
What's the word?
What may be happening with Parker is that, we can talk about this and how you think it works. My sense of Parker, and the reason that the visions play into Parker's mind at these opportune moments, my sense from the way that Parker was, his story, his origin was described to me by you and whatever we've been through, is that he is sort of unusually receptive, perceptive, prescient, whatever, and that his experience with the sensor of symmetry in the Twilight Monastery, where he saw the vision of Cuthbert standing in the entrance of Whispering Cairn. Right. So that told me that from time to time, Parker will see into the, probably...
have some kind of prescient experience, I suppose.
Yes, probably the future. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
But I don't know that I've ever thought of those visions as being sort of sliding doors, change history moments.
Plot
But
devices.
I mean, they could be.
Yeah.
They could be. What Parker has not done, not that he's been given much of an opportunity to do so, is follow up on those visions with, I don't know, get a second opinion. I don't know where you would start with it.
Yes, well, that was what I was that's what I was thinking of. Is there? I guess if you're a monk, in the real world, what you try and do is you try and some kind of meditate in some way on those visions you have, and try and find some way of controlling this. I wouldn't call it an ability, but
I mean, there's always Isenfen. She's definitely conscious from your experience, your encounter with her in the cave, that same encounter.
Yes.
She's clearly conscious that you are gifted or that you have the capacity to see things. She was keen that you didn't share what you saw. So perhaps let's have a think about that.
So would there be a? Because I'm thinking, would there be a journey to the monastery at some stage or other to have a consultation with Isenfen?
That's up to Parker. But something that occurs to me.
Well, it's a bit difficult at the moment because I think we're sort of trapped in the middle of some dungeon.
Yeah, you're trapped in the middle of goodness knows where. The other thing that occurs to me though is in that encounter with Isenfen in the cave, when you saw the vision of Hesti trapped in what turned out to be this globe of lightning that you've just found him in, was that you were expressly told not to share what you had seen. Is it possible that Isenfen forbade you from discussing what you had seen in order that Hesti, because Hesti, if he had known what you had seen, might have changed his behaviour? Maybe Isenfen is trying to preserve the thread of causality.
That's a very interesting
In other words, if you had said to Hesti, I've just had a vision of you, whatever, then when Hesti had encountered that chamber, assuming that everything else had worked as it did in terms of the sequence of events, Hesti would have seen this globe of lightning and known to treat it with more caution than perhaps he did.
True. Yeah, that's a very good point.
You hadn't told him about the vision, so,
Yes.
I have to say, it's find it quite amusing. You saw a vision of the entranceway, the kind of mechanism, the floating barrel that led to the sodden hole that led down to the... Yes. Right. Well, I mean, that was placed in your way. And when you actually encountered exactly that circumstance, none of you, including you, remembered that you'd seen it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so I worry.
That was
I've got to be nervous.
Just as a meta, from a player point of view, actually, that's what got me to start thinking about this, because I realised that actually forgetting that vision was actually not very helpful. So that actually, I learnt my lesson on that one. I actually wrote down the Hesti vision so that I was like, okay, if that comes up again...
Well, you've had another vision as well that you've not yet but assuming it was a vision of the future that you've not yet seen realised in reality. Don't know if you remember it, but if you don't, doesn't matter. What I like about Parker is this confluence, and it fits with you, Lucas, in terms of your areas of interest, of, as it were, kind of cosmology, and then this kind of ability to sort of, the connection between the orrery,
yes,
the interesting, because the Twilight Monastery, the sensor of symmetry is for looking at the stars and for reading the future in the stars. So the fact that Parker possesses the orrery, and Parker is also blessed with this ability to see into the future, either in the way that he did in the monastery, looking at the sensor of symmetry and looking at the starscape, or seemingly in these slightly more mundane situations in pools and mirrors and so forth. I like the confluence of those elements.
Yes, that's very interesting. On the subject of the orrery,
yes,
is there? So we had, I suppose, what you call a culmination or some
conjunction,
kind of
a grand conjunction
of the orrery. Where is it ticking over at the moment? When would be? When
there's another one coming up.
When's the next one coming up?
There was one on the 3rd of Misrule, which is the 3rd day of the Misrule Festival, right during the games. That was between Genius and Mayanus.
Yes.
And then the next one, interestingly, it is now, I think, the 3rd of Fart.
Misrule is the 3-day month, isn't it?
Misrule is a little interstitial festival in between.
Yes.
Between.
So we're now back into a full month.
Fumbulary and Fart.
Yes.
Yes. And so you're into the normal, you're into the standard monthly cycle. So you're into Fart, you're on the 3rd of Fart. The next grand conjunction is between Marx and Supati, and it is on the 20th of Fart. So in 17 days' time. It's quite interesting.
Right, so we have to keep our eye out for the 20th of Fart.
And it's not too long before there's another one. There's one on the 3rd of Apeshit. So there's one only 13 days later. Mm-hmm. And that's between Marx and Satnav.
So what did you say? The 20th is Supati and Marx?
Yes.
And the 3rd of Apeshit is?
Marx and Satnav.
Interesting. So,
and then there's another one. The next one is in Mage. Oh no, Source, which is the interstitial festival between Apeshit and Mage.
Right.
But I mean, I think at that point we're looking quite a long way into the future. And then there's another one in Mage, another one in Jewel, and then there's a long gap.
Yeah.
In terms of your ability to roll forward the orrery and look into the pattern, the last one that you can roll it forward to currently is on the 28th of December. So that's right at the end of the year.
Effectively, if we're lucky, we get an oracle questioning once a month on that sort of basis.
Yes, that's right. But also your sense is that these grand conjunctions drive other events.
Yes.
That
17 days is quite a long time in D&D.
In D&D time, it's an age. Yes.
How many days have we actually been going since the start of the campaign? When did we start? When was the first?
Give me a sec. Well, hold up. I should have a note of this somewhere. I think you started on weekday the 3rd of Fumbulary. It's now weekday the 3rd of Fart.
So, I mean, in that context, 17 days is quite a... I mean...
Yeah.
That's
you're halfway... I mean, it's taken you a month to do the first half of the... Well, I mean, again, we're metagaming here, but you know that you're approaching the halfway point of the grand story.
Yes.
So you would expect that next conjunction to fall within the horizon of the end of the story, unless things accelerate, rapidly. Who knows what's going to be possible? Who knows whether or not any of you survive what we're about to experience? Maybe you'll find out some stuff from Hesti in this very episode if he survives the first 5 minutes. Have you got any other questions?
No, those were my main
I think
questions.
I just like again, as I was talking about before, I like the way that Parker has definitely got a place in the story. Although it's very interesting, I think, in this little section that we're doing now, how Burple has rather taken on the mantle of the Farseer.
Yes,
maybe
but
in a slightly different way.
I think that's actually, I mean, from the way we play D&D point of view, I don't think we've ever had so much backstory in our characters that we actually...
Don't tell the readers this kind of stuff. Because they would feel that we're all...
They have to know. We discuss it all the time. We're terrible at that kind of stuff normally.
This is different, but I have to say, one of the
things...
Good.
I think it works very well.
Dear readers, we've played a few extended campaigns, but I think we've invested ourselves in this campaign more than we have anything else that we've ever done. Maybe because of the discipline that's enforced upon us by recording it and boring you, dear readers, with it.
That is an interesting factor, yes.
It may well be a factor, but I mean, I'm acutely conscious that most other tables games out there, I mean, there's a spectrum between just kind of rolling dice and smashing things on the head, which has hitherto tended to be our kind of way of approaching things, right?
Our modus
and
operandi.
A fully immersive roleplay experience where the dice just facilitate, decision making and so forth. I'm conscious that other tables may roleplay much more than we do, but certainly for us, this is about as kind of immersed as we get. And
but I mean, without getting too sentimental
the characters are paper thin, and we're 97 episodes in, and you and I are only just talking about it. So maybe anyway.
But that being said, I mean, isn't that the beauty of D&D? Is that the spectrum of possibilities in one set of rules is just always fascinates me. You can go from rules lawyering and highly accurate rolling of dice, skill checks for every single thing, right the way through to
and the different systems support different levels of things. Something like Pathfinder stuff, which we aren't going to get into a discussion about. There's much more crunchy rules.
We'll be here in 2 hours.
What I think is fascinating is that you can basically run all of this. At the Age of Worms is effectively 12 cut out and keep installments in a magazine from 2000 and whatever, a long time ago, and then really just the basic rules.
Yes.
We're running basic rules characters. We're not using any external material, I think, really for spells or options. Not that I can think of, at least not significant. So you effectively, off the basic rules, whatever, you've got a universe that you can explore.
Yeah, a richness of opportunities.
Yeah, and that is the wonderful thing about role-playing games in general, is that you build these huge, great stories and the experiences really off, you can build them off some, these little one-page games and so forth. It's fascinating. Right. Thanks, Lucas.
Excellent.
We better push on with the roleplay-tainment on the world's 9th best podcast. It's always helpful if you give us a rating or a review on your podcast app of choice. You can rate now in Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, or what's your one, Lucas?
Beyond Pod.
Beyond Pod? Can you rate things in Beyond Pod?
I don't know, actually. I never bothered.
Well, dear reader, if you use Beyond Pod, why don't you find out whether or not you can rate us? Ratings and reviews help push us up the algorithms of these applications and get us yet more readers for us to disappoint. You can always find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. The handout that is mentioned later in this week's episode, I will post on Facebook so that you can have a look at it for yourselves, but really it's not that exciting. And of course, you can always email us at hello@billowinghilltop.com, and if it is not obscene, we may well retrieve it from Paul's distended bag and read it out. Other than that, I have no news or information. Thank you very much, Lucas. Thanks for your questions.
Yes,
that was an interesting discussion.
The discussion, yes.
And we will push on with episode 97, can you believe it, of the Billowing Hilltop podcast, Scry Me a River.
Oh, very good.
Everybody likes Johnny.
Yeah, there's been stuff on Twitter today about you, Johnny.
Has there?
Was there? What did it say?
Yeah, well, they say you're a coward.
Really?
Yes.
That's not very nice.
Well, I don't know what
Factually accurate.
There's no denying
how
it.
you want me to dress it up for you. I mean, it's the way it is. Somebody posted on Twitter, we talk about challenge ratings, but sometimes we forget the best course of action with a picture of them all running away in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Yeah?
Yeah.
Somebody replied, also known as the Uncle Buggy plan of attack.
That's outrageous.
Well,
outrageous. Well,
they're listening to the thing. I mean, obviously, the edit does steer the narrative in a particular way, but what do you want me
There's
to do?
no hiding
He is
from it. I mean, you
fearless.
can't
I don't know who Andrew Marsden 84 is, but he's obviously been listening.
closely.
Um,
Wait, don't you have to listen that closely, do you?
No, you don't. It's fairly
No.
obvious.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here with Dan. Hello, Dan.
I'm
Graham. Hello,
not
Graham.
actually
Hello,
here.
Johnny. Hello, Johnny. Paul. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
And Dr. Eusebio.
Hello.
Spider Lucas.
Hello.
Should we do a recap, or shall I do a recap?
Yeah, you do one.
I'll do a really quick recap. Our heroes have jumped
Okay, that's
through. Yeah, that's it. Right. Who wants to do what?
Moving on.
Go on, you know you want to.
Yeah, go on.
I don't know that we really need
Desperate.
to.
You're
People surely
desperate to.
remember. You found Hesti Testapod and you freed him from his electric globular prison. Yeah?
Yeah.
And he slumped to the floor. Well, you don't know, but what I will say is that the last thing I did last week was roll a d20.
Yeah.
That d20 roll I made was a 3.
Yes, and that's probably the number.
What would you like to do, Alessandra? You're looking at the inert form of Hesti Testapod lying in front of you.
I'm going to shout at Sessions or the group behind me and say, does
So you're
anybody
basically
have
picking
a...
straight up where we left last week. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
With just an argument.
he's got seconds to live. Somebody heal him, please. And then I'm going to make my way gingerly.
Let's roll initiative.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Initiative, eh?
Okay, I've rolled for Hesti. Not good news for you guys. Anybody else want to roll?
I get
11.
6.
Burple got 13.
18.
Oh, no, 16.
13
Burple
for
gets
Burple,
16.
right. Can you see? Okay, which
21
one?
sessions.
That's the most important one.
Yeah. And Buggy, what'd you get?
I got 4. 6.
You got a 6. Okay.
So the thing I was going to say this, I backed away last week.
Mm-hmm.
Halflings are small, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what size is a greatsword?
It's a little great sword, isn't it? It's like a toothpick.
Yeah, I think it's a scaled greatsword. He bought it, right? It's not.
Right.
It wasn't found.
So it's really a short sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it does 1d6.
Well, Okay. Thanks, Dan, for that. I will look it up.
Wait a minute.
Well, it certainly used to be the case that they didn't do the same damage.
Yeah. Sessions on 21.
Yeah,
What would you like
about
to do?
3.5.
I'm going to, at full tilt, huff up the stairs, move through the doors, next to Parker. That's a strenuous 5 square movement.
Yeah, the idea of sessions at full tilt
Out of
is
breath
quite
already.
amusing.
Out of breath at the top, put away the piece
Yeah.
of cheese, spy the
And that's the end of your round.
free interaction with the cheese, and I will cast Healing Word on Hesti Testapod. He's our man.
What does that do?
That does.
Makes him the
It's got
best in the
60-foot
land.
range, and it heals him 1d4,
How what range?
60 feet,
Oh, okay. Yep.
and it heals him for a princely amount of 8 points of healing.
8 points of happy.
Happy, yeah.
Okay. He stirs. He coughs.
Oh dear. Oh no.
Who wants to do what?
I'll go
looks-
up and hit him.
He looks in a state of looks like he's coming round from a coma or a deep sleep, and he doesn't look
Well-
great. I mean, he's had 8 hit points healed, so he's
We're in round sequence, aren't we?
yeah. But you can. I mean, I was really just trying to establish
Distant
whether or not he
whispers.
was going to peg it before you got to him.
I'm going to ready an action to shoot at anything hostile.
Shoot at him.
I'm
Okay.
going to move into the
Anybody
room
else want to do anything?
and just do that.
No,
Burple?
The room.
I'm just by the entrance.
Anybody got any more healing for him?
Yeah, I'm wondering if I want to do that. All right, I'll
If we can get him
move
out
up
the
to
room,
him.
then there's lots of healing.
I'll move up to him.
He looks very. He looks like he's completely out of it.
Probably
He's conscious. He's blinking. He's kind of groaning.
maybe
he doesn't look like he's
take
in a
him
great
out of the
state.
room to the safe room that we're all in at the moment.
Yeah.
I'll
case
do a
the lightning
third
thing
level
comes
cure on him.
Oh well, I mean that's
20 points.
wow. I mean that's more hit points than he has normally. He's a wizard. That definitely revives him. He sort of coughs and he sits up. He turns. He goes.
Purple.
Yes.
Well, I never.
What do you mean, well, you never? Why are you going off by
What
yourself?
are you,
We told
what are you
about
doing
this.
here?
We're saving you. That's what we're doing.
Well, I can't. I have my written. I can't do his voice.
Right, what's the question? What are you doing here?
It's just about I've got to do. I have my researches.
Yes, so it's
Burple.
time to tell us what you know.
I have my work. I can't remember
How his voice goes? Can anyone remember how his Testapod's voice goes?
It's one of your posh voices, Mike.
Yeah, but which one?
The normal one.
Like real posh
Yeah,
voice?
your
or-
real posh voice.
It's just about
The one you use at home.
Oh, Burple.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, Burple. Burple. He doesn't do that.
No, it's not all guttural.
Burple.
Yes.
Well, I've been Parker. Oh, that's better. Yes. I've been doing my researches. You've
Yes.
rescued me.
Yes.
That's
Thank
better.
you.
Again.
That's better.
Now, tell us. It's time you tell us what you know.
Well, I don't know what you mean, Burple.
How did you come to be
He
here?
sort of starts-
and where were
he-
you going?
he-
and what were you expecting
He looks
to
like
find?
he's a little conscious of the shortness of his micro gown. He starts arranging himself.
The Hesticles.
Yes, yeah, the Hesticles are stowed.
Stowed.
So, Burple, your question, I'm sorry.
Yes. Where were you going? And why were you exploring
Well, I
without
don't
us?
know. I've been investigating the Whispering Care.
Why did you come back?
You followed me through.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Well, I'm full of admiration. Well done, Burple.
Yeah. Stop condescending. What level are
He
you?
looks at you in a slightly. Give me
I'm
an
10th
insight
level
check.
now, so stop treating me like a child.
And in the same way that you've been advancing in power, Burple, so have I been advancing in power.
Well, obviously not enough if we have to keep saving you. Right. So, why did you come back to the cairn? What did you suspect was here?
I've always wondered about whether or not there was an opportunity in these cairns to find something called the Rod of Seven Paths.
Yes, I know about that.
Well, I've been digging around in the hills for a long time. Your discovery of the cairn, I couldn't resist another look while you were in Evenstar. While I was here, I found that the portal that you have also travelled through.
Give me an insight check.
In 15.
He's in a state of kind of discombobulation, although obviously your heal spell has, sorted him out.
Love it.
He
Really
seems
my
bemused. He's-
heal spell sorted him out. That just
Yeah,
propped
okay,
him up.
yeah. Well, whatever. Let's not get into picking up the atmosphere from last week. He seems out of sorts, but you wonder whether or not that may be a little bit of an act. He seems to be regarding you in quite a sort of acute and steely way, Burple.
Yes, what do you know about my father?
Oh, well, now, Burple, I'm not sure that I do know any answers to the
I'm
things that
not
you seek.
sure I believe you.
Would it be permissible for me to ask you a question, Burple?
Well, that depends. You're not very forthcoming with your information. You clearly know something about the history and what's going on, and yet you've neglected to share it with us.
I have suspicions, Burple, but I have no concrete knowledge.
What suspicions of
Certainly
what?
I do wonder about your parentage, Burple.
Yes.
Do you remember that you found a scrap of paper
Yes.
in the mask of the Faceless One?
Yes.
It matched with a scrap of paper that you remember, that I possess. I believe
You
that those writings
you have a piece of paper.
yes, I showed you it in the cave up in the Cairn Hills when you were returning from
Right.
Blackwall Keep.
You don't have another one that I'm not aware of.
That is all I have, but they do indent those two pieces of paper. They definitely match.
Yeah.
And my view is, I have a theory that it belongs to me. It's mine.
Dinosaurs. Oh,
I have
thin at one end.
I have a theory that those are some form of journal or writings by your mother, Bert.
Yes, I know this.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
He looks at you with newfound respect.
You are a perceptive young man, are you not, Burple?
I don't
Tell
know
me,
about that.
Burple, when you travelled here through the apparatus,
Yeah.
could you see something that others could not see?
Yes.
Could you sense a way through that others could not sense?
Yes. Why do you...
Follow me. He stands up. He's full of energy, and he starts walking up. Follow me, Burple. I need to show you something.
Okay.
And he starts walking up the steps.
Oh, Parker.
Buggy. He's just kind of like,
Hello,
he's like
Mr.
passing the time of day.
Testable.
Like he's just sort of met you in the street.
Buggy.
Oh, you're fragrant as always. Sessions. Hello, Sessions.
Yeah.
And you
Bunny
must be
sandwich.
Alessandra.
Hello.
How was Evenstar, by the way? Any news? Anything interesting? How did you get on? You can tell me about your adventures as we walk. Follow me,
No,
follow
you
me.
can
And
tell
he
us
just
about
starts
your adventures
riding.
as we walk. Where are we going?
Well, I mean, my adventure has taken me here, young Burple. It is simple.
So
I found the apparatus, I explored this area, and unfortunately, I fell foul of whatever that mechanism is in that chamber there.
How long? So when we parted company, you
yes.
came straight back, did you?
Well, I dug about and I had a think and I rested and recuperated, but you were only away for a matter of a few days. This is Dungeons and Dragons, Burple. You understand how the time works here.
We've been in.
Did an entire
We've been in the Gladiator,
competition.
and then we've got another day's travel to get back here.
Yes,
and then
I know. Burple, I'm misunderstanding for comic effect.
Yeah.
You've been away for about 10 days, and in that time, I rested and recuperated. I
came
helped
straight
the
back.
restoration of the town after all of its other events. And then I started having a bit of a look about around in the Whispering Cairn, and it took me a couple of days, but then I found a way through the rockfall into the passage that you found.
How long have you been away? Was Ilthane
from my
around?
home.
Was Ilthane around when you?
Ilthane?
Yes.
Yes. Do you mean to say that she's still out there?
Yeah.
She attacked me, and I ran in.
Unfortunately,
Bug on food,
she
sir.
flew off before we could kill her.
That means the town must be in some kind of danger.
You think?
Oh dear, what a pickle. We should really return. But first. You're distracting me, Burple. Follow me. And he starts walking up the slope. There's something I need to show you.
Yes. Okay. We go back up the slope.
He walks into the gallery.
Mm-hmm.
Are you following him?
Yeah.
He walks round to the doors that you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. The moment that you step onto the gallery and you start walking around to the far end of the gallery, Burple, you followed his tracks up to these southernmost double doors but never went any further.
Yeah.
The moment that you step into the area in front of these double doors, they appear to you, Burple, to be outlined with a faint blue radiance.
Oh, okay.
Do you see anything that I don't see, Burple? He points at the doors.
You mean aside from the I think you need to rearrange.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, absolutely. That's the problem.
I see a blue luminescent outline.
You do. The others, the rest of you, Parker, Buggy, Alessandro,
No,
do you see
can't see
anything?
anything.
No. You have some form of sight, Burple. Something I feel you must have inherited. This is where we are heading with our discussion.
Right.
I believe those memoirs of your mother refer to a creature, an entity that may well be your father, Burple. And I believe that entity may have been one of what we call the Wind Dukes. Do you remember the Wind Dukes? Does anybody remember
Yes.
anything about anything that you're
Yes.
told? Well
Oh.
done. Okay. Well,
God,
now,
fancy.
Scaly.
look at these doors, Burple. You see something that we do not see. This is because you can see something that my researchers tell me that the Wind Dukes refer to as the skein. It is a path. It is a magical trail. It is a strand, Burple, that passes between worlds and dimensions. The fact that you can see it means that you must have inherited some of these properties from your father. Perhaps your journey through the apparatus has woken something within you. Do you feel different since you came through the apparatus? And he reaches to the doors and he opens them.
Oh, right.
And it's handout time.
Oh,
You see something, Burple.
yes.
You can describe it to the others. Everybody else, you can see a plain wall in the style of the rest of the chambers around you.
So,
It's like the doors are false doors. They just open towards you, they just open on nothing.
so
What do you see, Burple?
I see trees of green. Red
do
roses
you want to
too.
jump into the broom cupboard, Burple?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, let's jump into the broom cupboard briefly.
Sorry, guys. 1 sec. So is this a map I'm seeing, or is this like?
Oh, they've gone in the broom cupboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm dozing off. What's going
We're
on?
in the gallery. Hesti has opened those double doors, and Burple can see something that we can't
And his
see.
dad's a wind duke.
Oh, yes, he's scaly.
So I see what I suspect is a map. It's very plain.
A map?
Yeah, it looks like a sort of contours. It looks like a.
Well, can you draw it for us?
Well, I can draw on it, I suppose.
Yes.
But more interestingly, I see a fire opal which is glowing with this light. Shall I touch the fire opal?
Yes.
Yes, do it.
Okay.
Would you like to?
Go on. Go on.
Yeah, go on then.
Hesti is looking at you intently.
Go
on then.
Burple.
Yeah, I'll touch it.
Do it.
Grab it.
Touch the fire opal. Okay, first things first.
Oh,
Everybody
sounds
else,
ominous.
there is a flash of blue light. And where there was a plain wall behind these doors, a design is revealed. The design that Burple was describing to you. Burple,
Yes.
the moment that you touch the flame opal that's inset into the design, a vision flashes through your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's a set of impressions, a struggle, a burst of energy, the lifting of a great evil, the death of a great warrior, the shattering of a great artifact, the breaking of the earth, the rush of a great flood.
Ooh,
That's what you see. Everybody else, this design is revealed on the wall.
Yes, it's a map.
Which false door, sorry?
It's the door at the end of the gallery.
Okay.
And Hesti can see it too. He seems extremely intrigued by it. He leans forward, he peers at it. I never.
Do you recognise this?
He glances sharply at you, Parker. Well, that's a very interesting question, Parker. Look at this. I think, and he points to the dear readers. We'll put this map up on our Facebook page or somewhere or something. Or put a link in the show
You always
notes.
say that, but we never do.
You say always, but how many handouts have we had?
Lots.
Really?
No.
At
I'm
least
looking at our list of
maybe.
handouts. We've had one, including this one. The
Yeah, but we've had floor plans and things which you've threatened to put up.
yeah, the maps and stuff. But I mean, Johnny was going to draw maps. He drew maps for that the first 2 weeks, and then he stopped.
The thing is, you don't need to put this on. It's just a squiggly cloud-shaped thing with a yellow blob on it. It's not going to mean anything to anybody.
No,
Well,
but
it's a
I
map.
will.
Looks like a map to me.
You may well be right.
I'm always right.
Readers, I will post this in our Facebook feed just in case you're interested to see. But what Hesti says is, I think that the darker areas are land and the paler areas are sea.
Yes.
This looks like the great continent.
Okay.
Our great continent we call Aquarius, but it is somehow different. Look, here, and he points to the area directly south of the fire opal, where there's a sort of bay that indents into the main
landmass. Here, I feel, he runs his finger up the middle of the central spine of it. This is where we find the Great Newell Mountains. Yes, yes. To the east, the 39 Steps. To the west, the hinterlands. Our hinterlands. And here, he points to a point on the kind of bay. This is where we would find Evenstar. This can't be right. Here to the north, the Wolflands. Here to the south, the Southern Blight. Everything is fine, but this coastline here, and he points to the coast of the inlet, this coastline, this is the line, I mean, it's not exact, but this is the line of the barrier cliffs. There is no sea here. Where this sea is, that is now the lands that wait. None of this makes any sense. How can it be?
The sea has evaporated.
Surely this is a map.
Isn't it the other way around? The ice caps
Cataclysm.
are drying up.
I'm not sure that I understand the sense of it. I really don't know. What a fascinating discovery, Burple.
Fascinating.
Right, fascinating.
But the next question is obviously, with the opal, the fire opal, where is that? There's a fire opal on the map. Where does that represent?
At some point in what we call the Wolflands. I don't know. I don't know. Burple, there's a kind of a line running out from your breastbone,
Right.
snaking its way through the air like a sort of speckled blue skein or trace, running straight into the fire opal.
So I seem to be connected to the fire.
You do. Something is going on. You're not quite sure what.
Can I...
Yours, tell me about your adventures. Tell me about Eligos. What did she have to tell us about the Ebon Triad?
Virtually nothing.
Oh, that's very disappointing. And what happened in Evenstar?
I think it's time that we started asking you some questions.
Of course.
If I can think of any. Which
Okay.
I can't. No,
Well, that's fine.
what?
No, take us all.
Eligos is dead.
He just freezes.
Sorry to
No, that
tell
can't-
it, be the bearer of
that
that
can't
news.
be, my old friend. I mean,
She did.
we became estranged. How?
We
Can't quite remember.
defeated this large worm, the Ulgastaster.
Yes.
We destroyed the Ulgastaster, but when we returned to we'll tell him the story of our adventures in the gladiatorial. Well, it's quite long. I mean, I don't think our readers want
And
me
we
to...
can't
you know,
really
say-
remember.
Yes, we don't want to get into
No,
the
no,
whole
exactly.
detail of everything. Yeah.
So we'll recount our adventures,
he is
and
amazed.
he is sore amazed.
With hooves and the word.
He's amazed with hooves.
And Ragnian.
He's amazed
He's got
with
hooves. He's got hooves.
And
He knows how to
with-
use them. We will. I can't actually remember how she died. Basically, we got back and she had been
she'd been
Killed.
beheaded.
beheaded.
She'd been beheaded
We
by
suspect by Ragnian, who we
Ragnian.
think is.
Ragnian
we
is
think
the,
is in the
sorry,
area.
this is all none of this is making any sense. Sorry,
Okay.
Ragnian is the master of games. He's nothing to do with any.
Okay, we
Yeah,
have
the
we
Ebon
have
Triad.
part of the story. So what there are?
Let's relay the bits we know.
Yeah, there are
There was the
agents
shrine
of
to Chaos.
evil. There seems
the
to be
shrine
a
to-
concerted conspiracy to.
You're all speaking at once. I can't make sense of it.
There seems to be a concerted effort to bring about the Age of Worms.
The Age of Worms. Yes.
Involved we have.
Involved we have.
No, involved we have Ragnian, who was
force I will.
Ragnian.
Are you finished?
I mean, no, but carry on.
No, obviously not.
Yes.
We have Ilthane, who seems to be
the dragon.
the dragon.
I barely escaped with my life.
Well,
And she still
Ilthane
waits.
had
And she's still
planted
at large.
an egg riddled
Yes.
with these worms.
Oh, we know this.
with-
Yes,
yeah.
with the lizard, the lizard folk.
How do you
yes,
know
yes.
this? You weren't there,
You told me when you returned from Blackwall Keep all that time ago.
did we? No, I thought we went straight from there onto.
At the end of Book 3, Burple.
No,
Yes,
I thought
yes.
we went straight back, straight on.
No. Yes, we came
Okay.
back and
Fine.
Yes.
Okay, and so Ilthane is involved. Then we have this guy Ragnian who is had summoned this worm in the
Master of
arena.
Games, and I never.
The giant worm. Then we had the
Gracious.
the cults, and as you know, with the Ebon Triad underneath. So
Ebon
so basically,
Triad,
there
yes,
seems to be a lot of agents of some force.
The voice seems to come back to me. Basically, the less you know about the story,
Yeah.
the more
Yeah.
the voice comes back. Yeah.
No, but I think I'm
No.
demonstrating
The
some
secret
quite,
is to say, "Oh yes, Ebon Triad, yes." That seems to be, it works.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so what I'm wondering is what the connection is between all these various parties. And we also had a mind flare, but that mind flare we think was connected to Rachnian. So we've kind of traced that thing back to Rachnian, and he's come here, we think.
And he was an agent of Chaos.
So
we had
they're all agents
Chaos
of
stuff below the arena.
So, the Ebon Triad, in some way, must be related to this Chaos worship.
Yes.
Chaos is the harbinger of the Age of Worms.
Yes.
Yes, we know
This is
because
a
we've had the document before which talks about
This is
him
a
as
dark
being
portent indeed.
the harbinger of the Age of
We
Worms.
are on the cusp of a difficult time. I believe my ability to help you is limited.
Well, we know
You
this.
must go and see my old mentor, Marcus Doombringer.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes.
the
Let's
most
go. Yes. I
powerful
remember.
He may be able to help
Yes.
you.
Obviously. Let's
The
go and
most
see him.
powerful wizard.
I believe
We
he's
were on our
renowned
way.
for his funny voice. I understand, and his
Yes.
and his bad
He is
clothes.
a quite extraordinary individual.
Yes, extremely
Yeah.
powerful.
Strength is measured in different ways.
Delusional.
You must see past the surface. And you must somehow find it in yourself to ignore some of the stranger behaviors because he is a wise and powerful wizard. Marcus and I have a difficult past. Eligos too, but he will be able to help you. You must travel to see him. But what I would say is that here he kind of encompasses where you are with open arms. This may well be somewhere that can help us. I believe that this is the tomb of Icosiol.
Right.
Icosiol was a great general of the Winddukes. Icosiol was the leader of the Winddukes that defeated Miska the wolf spider.
We know
in the
this,
Battle
yeah.
of Pesh all those years before. Ah! He looks at the map and he points at the fire opal. Pesh! This must be Pesh!
Right.
I suspect that is where we are. The apparatus. The apparatus has taken us further than I thought. Fascinating. Fascinating. Now, you know, the Winddukes, they use their tombs to conceal items of great power that may be useful to us in our quest to somehow prevent the Age of Worms. You must continue this quest. You must find out what secrets this tomb has. And as you do so, you will need this. And he offers to you this object, this stone seal, not seal, seal of power seal. The thing the size of a Quality Street tin that he was holding. He must have picked it up from the shelf earlier. I found this earlier in my explorations, and I feel that it must be the key to making any more progress in this strange environment. You must take it, Burple. It may help you with what you wish to discover.
Wasn't there a door with some mechanoid things trying to
That's right. There's the doors that you opened with the map behind. There's a fresco to either side of it, and on the doors of some sort of mechanism. You believe it's some sort of construct from the plane of Mechanus, reaching for this stone seal. Hesti offers it to you. It's obviously important.
Who's carrying it?
Who's going to carry it?
Oh,
Put it in the bag of
I'll
holding?
hand it to Grimbold in the bag of holding.
Okay. The sort of little green hand grabs it, comes out. Yeah. Takes it inside the bag of holding. Excellent. Hesti lowers his voice.
Everything you tell me about the Ebon Triad and about the death of Eligos and about Rachnian, you said, I can't believe this is true. Rachnian, the master of games, this makes no sense. Tells me that we are on the verge of the Age of Worms if we do not act quickly. You must go. Definitely must go see Marcus Doombringer.
Where is he anyway, you silly old fool?
Doombringer has built an echo, a copy, a replica of the Sorcerer's Spire in Evenstar, built on a rocky island that Doombringer calls True Spire Island, which sits in the Lake of the Cold Sky, north of Elmshire, north of your monastery, Parker. It is there you must go
right.
to speak to him. But first, we must complete our investigations here, because I believe there are treasures here that may help us in our quest.
Excellent.
Right.
Where do you think they are?
Well, I do not know. I'm not sure in which way to travel. I did look briefly before I was entrapped. The stairs on the other side of the chamber with the lightning globe, but that to me seemed to be some device, some sort of snare or trap or dead end. I'm not sure. Where else have you been? Have you seen the river?
Yes.
Burple, does anything call to you? Can you see the skein? Can you see any guide to where you must go next?
No,
But
I
you
don't.
dreamt
Maybe you
to
need to
the
walk around a
river.
bit now that
Oh, I
you've
see.
touched the opal.
Shall I walk around a bit then? I'll walk
I think
around
you
a
should.
bit, Mike.
What about the
Go
fire
outside the
opal?
room.
There's a wall of fire.
Well, as you walk around the gallery, the little skein of blue light still anchors you to the fire opal in the design.
But can
Right.
he see anything else?
What can you see, Burple? Can you see anything that we cannot see?
I can see a line from me to the
A
opal.
line? The skein, Burple,
Yes.
the skein.
Yes,
Where does it lead?
to the opal.
Well, you must interact with it.
I'll interact with the opal.
What are you doing?
I will remove it
Push
from
it.
the wall.
The moment that you touch it again, Burple,
Yeah.
you are grabbed by a vision of a river of blood and a compulsion to throw yourself into that river and join its flow.
Excellent.
Right.
Let's
The
go.
moment that vision has flashed through your mind, the skein, the blue trace that you can see leading into the fire opal, dissipates, and the fire opal itself loses its inner glow.
Right.
So you've now got to go and dive into the river of blood.
Hesti sees that interaction. Oh, Burple, what did you learn? What did you see?
How exciting.
I should throw myself into the river of blood.
Of course, of course.
What do you mean, of course, of course?
That must be the way on. What possible danger could there be? I, of course, cannot join you. I am too old. I must
And
return
rubbish.
to Diamond Lake and my house.
Okay, thanks for the steer, old man.
About your house.
What about my house?
It doesn't exist anymore.
What do you mean it doesn't exist anymore?
Well,
Burnt to a crisp.
We went there before coming here, and it looks like Ilthane kind of had a go at it.
He goes grey.
Grayer.
Well, he was never that grey. He was more of a sort of, I don't know what colour he is actually. I always thought of him as being
Oh,
purple.
actually, he was,
I don't know why.
No, quite orange. Quite fake tan.
Yeah, orange,
Exactly,
fake tan. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, underneath the David Dickinson fake tan, he goes,
He's got tan lines on his thighs.
He's like an extra from Benidorm.
he's got the doesn't know what it means Chinese tattoo.
Isn't it the Giuliani with the sort of dye
Oh,
running
God.
off the sides of his head?
He goes
Yeah.
ashen when you tell him this. I'm out of my depth here. I
Okay.
am. Doombringer will be able to help you, but I can help you no longer. Burple, I am not sure of your parentage, but it seems to me that you must have inherited something. Some
Yes.
kind of sight from whatever this creature was.
You know what this means? It means Burple is scaly. You're scaly. It's
Yeah,
official.
unfortunately, it does. It's just very annoying. But apparently, I can sometimes wind. What's it called? Misty Step. And that's quite a useful little power if that's something I can do.
It resembled Misty Step, whatever it was.
Yeah. What about behind the wall of fire? What does he know about that?
I've not ventured there. There is some kind of entity through those flames, but I've not interacted with it. I
Dan.
believe it must be some kind of guardian.
Dan,
Yeah.
don't avoid it, mate. You've got to throw yourself into the river of blood. Let's do it.
I think we all do.
Well,
I think
you've got to
that's
go
what
first.
It's basically, yeah. Unfortunately, I do. All right, Mike. I will. You know those bits where in like cartoons where the character is really sad and has his arms all droopy. And so-
Yes.
yeah. It's basically I'll do that on the walk down to the level.
Head
below.
down.
So you're being
Shoulders
made,
down.
Yeah.
you're being made
Like
to walk down to
knowing
the
that
river.
I have to go into the
Alexandra
river of
is
blood.
skipping along beside it.
Alexandra.
Sandy.
Sandy. So is this a kind of beach? This bit that's running alongside the river.
There's a beach that runs. Hesti is not coming with you. I must
Right.
return to Diamond Lake and my home.
Burnt to a crisp.
And he, in a state of deep depression, he trudges off. And the last thing you hear him say is, "Find Doombringer. Find Doombringer. He is the only answer we have."
Okay, Mike.
Yes.
2 questions. Which
Yes.
way is the river flowing?
From
Left to right.
And what are those dots leading into the northern fork to the east?
Those dots mark where the current is behaving slightly strangely. You feel like, and Alessandra had a look at this I think it was last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The flow runs from northwest to southeast, but that's oversimplifying it. Where it splits to your right into 2 forks, right and left. The left fork, you feel that there are eddies in the current. They go high, and you don't feel that looks like that's the general main course of the river. It looks like the main course of the river is off to the right fork.
Right. And the other one looks like it might lead to a sort of cul-de-sac of some sort. And
Yeah, kind of, like a neutral current.
but
It must be that the
beyond
water must be
that-
flowing in there and coming back.
So beyond that, it's not flowing in quite the same way. It's all calmer. And
That's right, exactly. So those little dotted lines just represent the dividing line in the way that the current is flowing.
okay.
You can make your way round to a little spur of the beach right up next to the forks. What's your dark vision?
My dark vision is 60 feet.
I don't know because of the angle that there's all that much more to show you, but let me see what I can find. Sorry, readers, we're doing stuff with the map, but Burple is standing on the southern shore of a river running from his left to his right and forking on his right, up and down. There are strange things going on with the current. 60 feet dark vision, where you can see right up into this fork, Burple, and you can see far enough to see that it actually forks again in that direction.
Oh, fork off.
But looking the other way, I don't think the angle really helps you. That southern fork, you can just see that it heads off in the direction you think. It looks like it's heading off and maybe turning a little, maybe turning south so that it might be running along the side of the rooms that you've investigated. You know, the room with the carpet and the statue and the room with the lightning globe. It looks like maybe it heads off round and follows round the side of those rooms.
Right.
I think that's an awful lot of stuff to learn from standing there. Anybody else want to do anything? Sessions, Parker,
Well, having a look,
Alessandra, Buggy.
get out the old
Alessandra's
broom, I think.
is going
Out on
to-
the sweepstake.
Alessandra's gonna, now she can, start her flying, and
I'm saying it's about 8 in the evening on still on the same day, weekday the 3rd of 5.
Yep.
4 hours until you can take a long rest.
I'm just gonna wait, look at Burple, point at the...
Do we want to take a rest
River of
before
Blood.
we explore, or shall we,
I think we
press
should
on?
press on. Yeah, I think we should press on. I think you should get in.
Okay.
It's flowing pretty fast. Somebody give me an intelligence check. I know that Sessions and Alessandra have had a look at this river before. Burple, you give me an intelligence check.
17.
You think it's water, Burple.
Yeah.
You think it's water with some
19,
kind
in
of
fact.
chemical admixture.
Okay.
Its viscosity is not blood-like.
Yeah, but water
No, it
itself.
doesn't mean that it's not
Yeah.
incredibly scary.
I'm going to pull out my figurine of wondrous power and summon my griffin.
Okay, as you do so,
Yeah.
a couple of things. First thing that happens,
I feel the blessing of
everybody
Orc.
else, you're gathered around. The golden griffin figurine is cast down onto the beach.
Yep.
Starts to grow. You feel like it's been activated. As that's happening, you notice something from the river, surfacing in the river.
Told you we should have taken a rest.
That wouldn't have made any difference. I think they would have interrupted our rest.
Yeah, we wouldn't have taken a rest here.
Are a couple of entities. They surface, one in the northern fork of the river,
Yeah, really appetizing.
one rising up to the surface from the southern fork. It looks like they can sort of almost ignore the current. They look like a blend or a cross or a weird sick hybrid between a blood corpuscle and a blood clot. They're sort of globular yet clotted.
Nice.
They look like bruises. They look like living bruises. Yeah.
A bit
They
amoeboid.
surface and warble up to the surface of the river, and they start making their way towards you. They look horrible.
Okay.
The other thing that happens, Burple, is this figurine of yours has expanded to its full size.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of not perhaps the kind of griffin that you were expecting.
What's that mean?
Well, it's got the body of a lion.
Yes.
It's got sickly green-grey mangy fur.
What?
Its head, forelimbs, and wings. I've checked the description of the griffin on D&D Beyond. Its head, forelimbs,
cursed.
and wings, though, are not those of an eagle, but rather those of a vulture.
Right.
Cursed.
Is it like a cursed item?
Can you remember where you got it?
No.
From that weird museum.
So
Cursed.
Do you remember the
yeah.
creatures in the museum that you triggered?
Type 1 demons.
Yeah, the vulture-headed. Yeah, it looks like that. Its eyes gleam at you, Burple, with a kind of malevolent menace. It throws back its head and it issues a blood-curdling scream as these weird blood creatures attack, and we will find out
Brilliant.
quite what is going on with your figurine of wondrous power when we pick things up next.
Marvellous. Thanks, Mike.
Excellent.
That's great, isn't it?
Have we added an extra foe in there? Brilliant.
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. A Gathering of Winds and Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. A Gathering of Winds was written by Wolfgang Bauer. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening.
Dungeon Dads is a podcast of 4 dads.
John,
Tim,
Sam,
and me, Tom, playing an epic game of D&D. But it's really a story of 3 mismatched heroes. Jonas Silverwind, a highborn wizard.
I am going to cast Mage Armor.
Abel Rockbrother, a wayward cleric.
Tempest, will you please, in your infinite wisdom, help me to kill these men?
And Phil Near Omajira, a warlock who's made a pact with a higher power.
I owe it my life. Guess you had to be there.
Come for the epic adventure.
This army of barbarians in fur and leather, they're rushing the war wagon.
Stay for the dad jokes.
So, here's the hole, fellas.
So quoth the queen.
And 80s references.
People are people, so why should it be that you two should get along so awfully?
Find us at dungeondads.com or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hey, not bad. Can we do one more take where you pretend like you actually like the show?
Yeah.